Okay, let's get into it. Because the last thing you want, ladies, is to drag a man to the altar.
Artist.
He has to look at other women.
Well, he can be an artist, right? He can be an artist. He can.
That is a hot topic. And if you're new here, what's up? I'm Natasha, founder of Miadora, former single mom of 4, but now newly engaged, about to get married to my amazing guy.
And I'm Brian, coach, former bachelor, just here to give the healed and masculine perspective.
We want to help you win in the area of dating, marriage, relationships, and life. So if you're interested in learning more about feminine, masculine energy in relationships, in dating and marriage, and with your hormones and everything else, then you're going to want to follow for more. We have some questions today from you girls. These are actually really good questions.
Yeah.
To get both a man and a woman's perspective when it comes to dating, especially the divine feminine and masculine perspective. So babe, what's the first question?
What to do if my partner is looking at other women on social media and in real life?
That is a hot topic. It's interesting because though back in the day with dating, there was no social media, there was none of this stuff, but I really feel for people nowadays that are having to date and be in relationships. Social media, everything is over sexualized and everything. So I really, really believe that you need to have healthy boundaries around social media. And the first step is checking yourself. What are your standards? What are your standards personally? Not just with your partner, but just people in general. You have to have that clarity inside of you first of what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. And then you need to ask yourself, are you also following through on those boundaries with yourself? And then if you're noticing that your partner, or maybe you keep attracting the type of guys that do stuff like that, where they're checking out other women online or offline, then you need to really just check yourself and see, like, what kind of guys am I actually attracting? But let's assume that this is a great guy, because not all men are aware of this. The first thing I would do is I would just have a discussion about it and just let him know how you're feeling. Do not yell at him, do not degrade him, do not criticize him, do not be super triggered and just start fighting with him. That's the worst thing you can do, girl. Okay, the best thing you can do is just stay calm, really embody the energy of your worthiness. You're communicating your standard, like, hey babe, what's this? Let's talk about it, especially if you haven't had a conversation around that yet. We haven't really talked about this yet. Let's talk about this. This is how I'm feeling when you are looking at other girls' photos. Hopefully they're not, but maybe they're still following their exes or something like that. Talk to them about it and see how they respond. Most healthy men, you come at it from the approach of just being calm and not attacking them. They want to make you happy. A loving, healthy man wants to make you happy at the end of the day. As long as you're not accusing him, I'm sure he's willing to listen. If he continues to do it, you really, babe, I know it's not easy, but you really need to ask yourself, is this the type of person that I want to be married to and father my kids?
Well, it's a real topic in relationships,
Yeah.
especially in social media era.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, first is those healthy boundaries, understanding where we are, so those healthy boundaries and having those conversations. And then it's really the context behind it, because those are two separate things. One is online and one is in person. So being online, you really want to approach it as being curious, like, just asking questions and not just jumping to conclusions, because you never know what the algorithm looks like if it's a new relationship and it looks like he's been looking at a lot of women's, or it might be his profession, or he may be an artist.
He has to look at other women?
Well, he can be an artist, right? He can be an artist. He can be into bodybuilding, where he's looking at people in that field.
Yeah.
We don't want to assume. It wouldn't be a healthy relationship if he's just looking at women in a certain type of way all the time. But you have a feel for if he's really has a wondering eye. So I say trust your gut, even in the process, right? Trust what's on the inside of you in it, no matter what answer he gives you. But have the conversation, look for those patterns, and then step back and watch. Don't just crowd him and every day ask him once, watch, then make a decision. Then when you're in person, it's a lot easier having a wondering eye. That would just be hard to accept if you're just watching him staring at women and things like that.
So if you're out for dinner and he checks out another girl.
Yeah, I mean, that would be unacceptable. Of course, you still want to have those conversations, because if it's no conversation, people can say anything to make it sound good. Like, I just love how beautiful the women are. I don't have any idea. I don't want to be with her, whatever the case is. Yeah. And you don't want to go back and forth. Establish your boundaries watch, make a decision, have conversations, ask questions, but trust what's on the inside of you in your decision making when guys, have that conversation. Because like I said, no matter what he says, you know how you feel and how it makes you feel. And if he's not willing to make those adjustments immediately, then that may be something that you want to step away from. Even if he's doing it for all the right reasons, he should want to make that adjustment immediately just to make sure you feel safe and secure.
Exactly. That's so good, babe. And I feel like we had to have that conversation too, because I do so much online. So we've had to talk about healthy boundaries around social media as well. And I think the biggest thing with us, it's very much like, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I'm not comfortable. I'm not okay with this. It's on both sides. I'm always about no hiding anything. So even on my social media, my DMs and stuff, like Brian helps me and my team helps me answer my DMs. So everything has always been transparent right from the beginning. And I wanted to always stay in that energy. Even before we were together, my team was managing my DMs because I just really believe in embodying that energy of a wife. You should never be hiding anything to begin with. And because I always maintain that energy, no matter what I do, it made it easy to transition into a relationship. But if you are the type of person, or you're dating the type of people that are really shady, like if you are a shady person, you are hiding stuff, whether you're a man or a woman, do not be surprised if that's the type of people you attract into your life, right? Or if you're a pushover and just have no boundaries, and then you're attracting these type of people into your life. But typically when you are good with yourself, you keep everything clean and honest and transparent, like you have nothing to hide in any area of your life, it's so much easier to have a relationship and not be worried about these types of things.
Yeah. And even adding to it, I think it's good initially when you make that decision and be together is to just do it individually. Just make sure you do your part. Clean out your social media, your photos. Not that you're doing something sneaky, but you just don't want anything in the past, right, to even be that energy of having it in your inbox, or the energy of having it in your photos. You don't want that. So it's deleting it and not holding on to anything in the past, so both parties can feel comfortable and safe.
It is an energy thing, you guys, because and this is something that I teach the girls in the relationship course and even my weight loss course, is letting go of stuff, because everything does hold on to energy. Why women feel so triggered when they see their man liking other girls' photos, because a lot of people are like, oh, it's no big deal, it's just a photo, what's the big deal? There's an evolutionary reason why women get so triggered when they see that. A woman's highest need is safety and security. We have evolved for thousands, millions of years as tribal beings, where the masculine was our protector, provider, provided for us and protected our offspring. Anytime there was a threat to the masculine protecting me and my offspring, it triggered at a very deep DNA level that threat to my survival. That's how women have evolved. So I know you think, oh, it's just social media. It's not just social media. It's another man looking at another woman. And that's what it's triggering. Now, once again, obviously, ladies, you have to own your healing. This is not about the men, because when you are healed, you are going to attract into your life a healthy, healed man as well, who will value your couple bubble and keeping things safe. You never convince a man to do anything, okay? That's why you have to have those boundaries and your standards and be willing to walk away if your non-negotiables are broken. Just wanted to mention that as well.
No, that's definitely big as well. So that's our take on answering that question, really about men looking at other women online and in person.
For men, the biggest thing is respect, right? So if your man is feeling disrespected by maybe someone you're talking to online, or even if it's for business, respect that in him. That is the man's greatest need, is to feel respected, ladies. So don't be defensive if he's asking you to change something about social media as well.
That's key on the man's side. It's not trying to figure out if what you're doing is less than what he's doing, or if it's innocent, because in both parties' eyes, they may feel like they're doing something that's not harmful.
What's a big deal?
But really trusting and not getting into conversations about jealousy or anything. It's really about protecting the relationship.
Exactly.
And both parties have a need for things to go a certain way to feel protected in the relationship. That's good as well. Just listening, as long as they're not asking you to just do stuff out of an emotion, but really out of a thoughtful, like they've thought about it, this is how they feel. They're just making that decision to do that for the other parties.
I remember when we were on our first date and we were walking around in Vegas. And you mentioned something after. You're like, I noticed that you don't check out other guys.
Right.
Like, as we noticed that and this was the first time we met. But I have already trained myself, because I mean, I was married before, and it's just a respect thing. where I'm not checking out other guys. It's those little things that people notice. We are very aware of those. We're making these split decisions. Is this somebody I want to marry? Is this somebody I want to go on a second date with?
Because it's a difference between, as men, us really watching the environment, making sure we're safe.
Yeah, that's different.
Than our eyes getting stuck. And it wasn't about necessarily looking at a man. It was just like a wondering eye.
Yeah.
Right? Am I looking all around? Because as a woman, your job isn't to protect me. So if you're looking around, that's a wondering eye to me. But if a man is looking and protecting, then that's different. So that's what I noticed, that it was less about just a wondering eye and just being into what we were doing. Yeah,
you're being present, which is feminine energy, ladies. Healed feminine energy. Okay, baby.
Second question. How to stop mothering/nagging your partners? We can answer that, or do you want me to add the second part of the question as well?
What's the second part?
The second part.
It goes together.
How do we tell him to clean up after himself in a healthy, feminine way?
Oh, that's such a good question. Oh my gosh, I've learned so much. So ladies, take notes, okay? First of all, you do not want to nag your husband or your man for any reason. He will naturally resist. Even if you are right, men they don't want to be told what to do. And that's okay. So we got to use our feminine intelligence here. At the end of the day, he wants a happy, healthy wife. He wants a peaceful household. He wants to, especially if you're married, he wants to have fun with you at night. He wants that. You want to stay in that energy. And then if there's something, say he's like leaving his socks around or leaving his clothes around. So first of all, you got to look at what's really important to me. And if this man is busy working, he's helping with the kids, doing a bunch of stuff. Like I'll look at Brian, for example, doing a bunch of stuff, jumped in, like taking care of 4 kids, helping with business, coaching, getting ready for moves, doing a bunch of stuff with food. Like this man is constantly doing stuff. If I see his boxers lying around or socks or whatever lying around, I don't even hesitate. Like it's fine. I do not care. Like I will pick it up. I'll put him in the laundry basket. Like it's not a big deal because this man is so busy, focused, doing other things that are really important to me. Now, I wasn't always like that. Like a lot of women naturally can be very critical of men. And so that's why I really want you to retrain yourself to really focus on the stuff he's doing right. Because the best way to get a man to do anything is through appreciation. So when you're showing him how much you're appreciating even the smallest things that he's doing. This man goes, hands you, I don't know, some food, or he goes and he grabs something for you, or he takes care of something for you. He's paying the bills for you. He's, helping you with the kids, whatever he's doing, like focus on what he is doing. Show him how much you appreciate that. And then just ask yourself, is this something that is a really big deal or not? If it's not a big deal, then babe, just let it go, okay? Because you being in your mothering, nagging energy is going to do so much damage to your relationship. It's going to turn him off and it's going to turn you off. You're basically going to turn each other off of each other. There's that. If it's something that's really important to you, like it's actually a big deal, then you have to be like in your sweetness, in appreciation, like, babe, you do so much for me. I love you so much. You're amazing. You mean a lot to me if you remembered to, whatever it is, pick up this or something, or make sure to do that. And see how he feels. And then you just do it in a fun, feminine way and then kiss him and hug him and snuggle him and all that stuff. He'll listen to what you're saying. You might need to remind him, and that's okay, especially the relationship is new and you're getting to know each other. Just like I'm sure there's stuff that you have to work on and he has to remind you about. So the key is to really not be triggered by each other. Don't be defensive by each other. When you keep it fun and flirty, it's very hard to get mad at each other. So that's the woman's perspective.
And it's really, like you said, it's choosing your battles. What's coming out of him doing this, right? Is it really going to change my life? And like you said, if it's something that's really bothersome, having suggestions and actually just bringing it up in a way where it's like, oh yeah, by the way, after I saw this, I got it for you, no worries. But if you can help me out with this, just in whatever way you communicate, just making it light, instead of making it feel heavy. Like, okay, oh, you did something else again. Because it's like we're going down a checklist of everything that needs to be done, and we look at this, and you're talking about some socks, and we're like, really? Come on, like socks. So it's really just finding a way in your relationship to say, like, whatever you have to say, where he's like, you know what, that makes sense, and then continue to help him. Right. Continue to pick it up. Like, do it and then bring it up. Don't point to it while it's still on the floor and like, look at your socks over there. No, pick it up. Say you've taken care of it. I'm just bringing this up to you so you're aware so you don't lose socks or whatever you need to say.
Your boxers.
Exactly. Right. These are your favorite
Are you even
boxers.
wearing boxers right now? So your
Man,
back clean boxers?
exactly. Like I don't want you to lose anything. I want to make sure you know where everything is at.
Mhm.
So I already did it for you. It's not what you say, but how you say it.
It's
So
everything.
yeah, so it's not in a moment like, okay, I just got off work, I'm tired, and then you bring this to me.
Yes.
Maybe
Yes.
do it like after you had some fun together.
Yes.
You know, when our guards are down, right?
Yes.
Then it's
Yes.
like, okay, it's easier to receive because
Yes.
it's not a big deal in that moment. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
kind of like where I'm at with it.
100%.
And most men.
Most men.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a couple things I want to talk to you girls about in regards to this from a hormone perspective. So first of all, clothes and clutter around the house do not affect men the same way it affects a woman. And there's a hormonal reason for that, or evolutionary reason for that. So women, it actually affects our cortisol levels when there's clutter because we're just so sensitive to our environments. And that's just, we were tribal, men were out hunting. That's why men could be laser focused on something and not even hear or see anything else that's going on because they're so focused. Where women, in our environment, because we were back home, we were the gatherers, we're like looking around, we had to be very intuitive with our surrounding while the men were around. So we're just very intuitive with the energy in our environment. That's why women do so much better in clean, orderly environments. Just know that because for us, we're like, how does this not bother you that the house looks like this? For us, we're like, their brains are wired differently. So you cannot treat a man the same way that we treat ourselves. So that's the first thing. Also, really know that you just criticizing him all the time is going to destroy your relationship. Okay, it's going to completely fizzle everything out. So even the word says, meditate on whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is praiseworthy, whatever is good report. That's what's actually going to build up your marriage and your relationship is constantly, and you have to rewire your nervous system, ladies. Because I know we're especially when you're in your masculine, you're constantly analyzing, overthinking. You think that you're helping him by picking him apart. No, you're doing the opposite, babe. Okay. He will respond to you when you're fun and loving and appreciative. He will not respond to you if you're disrespectful. Like that is like relationship suicide. And it's the tone of voice and it's your energy. Even if you don't say anything, it's your thoughts and your feelings. And one more thing I just want to mention about this too, coming from a hormone perspective, is ask yourself, is it that time of the month? Am I, a little bit hormonal, my perimenopausal? Babe, this is a big deal because a lot of people fight during that time of the month or during perimenopause because your hormones are all over the place. That's on you, babe. Like you need to do what you need to do to get your hormones feeling in a good place. Or maybe you're exhausted and you just need to go take a nap because you can feel yourself getting critical. Those are the moments you need to practice that self-control, which is feminine energy. That's healthy feminine energy. Is you're not just vomiting your emotions on your partner or your family or your household. You go inward and you check in with yourself. And hopefully you're in my program because I have literally lists of how you do this. And you re-regulate your nervous system. You give yourself what you need, balance your hormones so you can feel good about yourself again. Okay, so we don't destroy our relationships because they don't deserve that just because you're PMSing or you're perimenopausal.
And what it can cause as well is at times for men to the conversation like, I'm not going to say this to her. I'm not going to talk to her about this because I don't feel like going through the nagging, the mothering, right? So it's like it can shut down areas of growth in your relationship of conversation because, just like sometimes when women talk, they just want you to listen. Every time a man talks, it's like we want to discuss and come up with a solution. We don't want to nag about the problem. That can cause a man to shut down or pull back from what he's sharing with his wife, his girl, whatever the case, because we just don't want that type of feedback.
I'll give you guys a really good example. Actually, Brian he like just moved here. He's like already taking so much stuff off my plate that I've been dealing with. And I had stopped taking some ashwagandha and some of my supplements that I take that, I'm literally a hormone coach, and I stopped taking some of my stuff because I was so busy. So I came over to his place and I had a total meltdown. And it was because I was so exhausted. I had been managing my team myself. I had been running all this stuff myself. He was just kind of new here. And I just had a total meltdown. It wasn't even like me. But then I realized I was checking in with myself and I'm like, okay, I haven't been taking my ashwagandha. I haven't been taking my supplements. And then he was so sweet and he's like, okay, babe, like, I think that you should take a break from, he's like, let me handle this. And it was a certain area in the business with like managing the whole team. And I was like, I didn't even think of that. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do that. We made that one switch. I haven't had a meltdown since like that. And it was like checking with myself, taking the ownership of like, no, girl, you need to stay on your supplements, make sure you're in a good place. But then also I gave him that space too, where he could come up with some solutions, things I wasn't even thinking about, because you're so used to it when you're in your masculine energy, you're in survival mode, you're just so used to doing everything yourself.
Right.
And, you know, he's coming in and like he wants to problem solve. Give him that space to do that. But if you're belittling him and you're criticizing him and you're putting him down and you're telling him he's not doing stuff, he's gonna shut up. He's gonna just retreat from you. He's not gonna want to come and help you.
Yeah.
But if you're just showing him how you're feeling, like, babe, I'm exhausted. Like, and it's okay for you to cry. It's okay for him to see you like that. And you can explain him like, I'm just feeling like this. You're never pointing at him. You're never saying this is your fault. And then give him space to problem solve. Allow him to be in his masculine. And then whatever his suggestions are, don't shut them down right away. Don't criticize them. Like, just be open to receiving help, which is part of the feminine, that you have to train yourself to be able to receive help. And when you embody that energy of people come and help me, guess what, babe? People show up and they want to help you. And that one switch was such a game changer for me personally, but also for our business.
I mean, it happens even to us, right?
Yeah.
So these answers are coming from like experience and how we made the adjustments with each other.
Yeah.
Even in this 8-9 month time frame.
Totally.
This is a true or false.
Okay.
True or false? Don't let your boyfriend stop you from finding your husband.
True. Okay, so first of all, unless you're like 19, you shouldn't be having a boyfriend. I mean, I shouldn't say you shouldn't. You can do whatever you want. But for me personally, I'm like, I never use that language, because you're either dating for marriage,
right,
or you're just fooling around, really. Because I don't know about y'all, but I didn't want a boy to marry. I wanted a man, right? I wanted a masculine, healthy man. So I'm not calling anybody my boyfriend. Yeah, you're not in college or 20 years old. So that's the starting point, is just that energy of, I don't have a boyfriend. I'm dating for marriage. If you are serious about dating for marriage, but whatever. So say he is your boyfriend. That's, you know, you've been together for a long time. You're new to this, and that's okay. No judgment.
right.
Is he stopping you from finding your husband? Yeah, he is, babe. Because you want to be crystal clear on what you want in a husband. Because if you're not clear in your energy, babe, the men will mirror that back to you. So if you're like, I want to get married, but I don't know if I want to get married, right? You're going to pick men that are in that energy. Or he might be an amazing man. Like, you could see yourself marrying this person, but he's still going to reflect that energy back to you. So you need to be crystal clear on what you want first. And then you need to communicate that to them. But first, you need to embody that energy, because it's not head knowledge. It's not something you try to convince him to do. It's something you have to be so clear in your energy that you are carrying around. Okay. And then you can have a conversation with him about that. Like, babe, I'm ready to get married. You don't say it's him. Say, I mean, we had this conversation before we started dating. Like, I'm dating for marriage. I never said it has to be you, even though deep down I wanted that.
Right.
I was like, I'm ready to date for marriage. And then allow him to make that decision. And he's going to, and it's all how you say it, ladies. You're not yelling at him. You're not degrading him. You're not like, you haven't done this, you haven't done this, blah, blah, blah. You're not doing that, okay? You are just in your worthiness, in your pleasure. You're like, babe, just so you know, I'm ready to get married.
And don't bring it up daily.
No, no, this is like a one-time conversation. Definitely. So you're not bringing it up every day. This is like a one-time conversation. But you have to follow through with it. So you can have the conversation of, babe, I'm ready to get married this year, and see what he says, right? And if he's like, no, there's no way, I'm not, blah, 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 then let him, like, do not fight with him. Do not try to convince him. Men need to kind of go away and process. He's not going to process it right then and there.
Right. You won't get a response answer like yes right away.
Men need time to process. Give him that space. And then depending on how you're doing it, it could be a thing where if he's like not sure, it's like, babe, that's okay. Like, oh, be free. Like, give him that freedom to go and figure stuff out. That is a blessing to him and to you. True love is freedom. So you want to give people free will. Anytime you try to control people, they are going to run, especially men. Especially men. But you need to be in your worthiness of like, it's okay, babe, I'm going to start rotationally dating for marriage, and you can figure it out, and that's okay, honey. So yeah, you're going to let him be free, make his decision. You're not pressuring him to do anything at any time. You're living your life. And if you guys separate for a little bit, that's okay. You want it to be his idea. And if he's not for you, babe, he will fall away. And your husband, who is meant for you, especially when you have clarity in your energy and what you want, he will find you. That's my perspective.
Yeah.
What do you think, baby?
No, I think, like you said towards the end, it's important that the women start off rotational dating, because if you're committed to someone who's not committed to getting married, then you're already started off incorrectly, right? It's not going anywhere, but it's just going to hold you up, because the man on our end will do whatever we can out of convenience, like we always talk about, right? So we'll do what we need to do, like we'll get engaged, we'll move in, we'll do whatever to hold on to it. But when you make a decision and follow through with that decision, like you said that you want to get married, so all of your actions are showing that you want to be married. So first, you're not spending an enormous amount of time with him if he's still trying to figure it out, if he hasn't made that decision, right? So you're not investing in him if he hasn't made that decision. He's not moving in, you're not cooking for him. He's just someone you're talking to when you have time. Really not investing in someone who decides that they don't want to get married to you, because most men will never get married. If I mean, most men will never get married. They don't have to, right? I mean, especially if these men, that's the reality.
I love how real this talk is. Yes.
Yeah, especially if the men don't have a higher power, like they don't follow Christ, whatever. It's like nothing that's causing them to get married. So you stand on who you are. By default, the man's going to make the decision to, okay, I either want to be with her or I don't want to be with her. And he's either going to step up or fall back. And that's what you want to see, because whichever decision he makes, you're silent in what you're going to do. That shows you how much time you can invest moving forward. So it's not complicated with men. Once you have those conversations, things change on the inside of us, right? We either say, okay, she moving a little too fast, or okay, this might be the one.
Yeah. And we had a break of talking to each other.
Yeah.
Right. And it was so awesome, because there was no weirdness.
No.
It was just like we stopped talking for a bit, and I never once forced him to do anything.
Right.
Everything was always his decision.
Yeah. It was for maybe 6 months, 5 months, right?
Yeah, I think even longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about December to May or something like that.
Yeah.
So but once you do that, it'll never leave his mind. The fact that this is who you are. So even in our situation, when we stopped talking, I knew coming back into it that, okay, this is where we're going with this relationship. It's not going to be dragged out. We're going to make a decision to get married, or we're not going to be together. Yeah.
And you even said, because I'm like, how are things going to be different this time? And you said that you had to be more vulnerable with me.
Yeah, definitely. Because you don't want to be vulnerable with everyone, especially as a man.
No.
Right. You don't want to be vulnerable towards a woman.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not a healthy relationship, this information I'm giving you can be held against me.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, okay, I'm making this decision. We've already vetted each other to an extent.
There was nothing actually wrong.
Right. Nothing
like
at all.
Everything was like completely on point.
Exactly.
Matching.
It was just, I mean, the main thing for us not talking on my end was me just really trying to figure stuff out as far as Canada, USA, right? And instead of having the conversation, it was just me figuring it out.
And men do that sometimes too.
Yeah.
That's why you have to give them space.
Yeah.
Where they will withdraw because they're processing.
Yes.
You have to give them that space, especially if you're just, even when you first start dating, they need to go through that phase of withdrawal. Is this somebody I want to be with? Allow them to do that. You're not nagging them. You're not hounding them. You're not pressuring them. You're just living your best life, because they can feel that if you go in your needy energy during that time, you're going to repel him. But if you're living your best life, and this is what happens with all of my girls in my programs, they always come to me when they've just gone through a separation or a divorce or about to get divorced or a breakup, and they start doing the inner work, the inner healing. They start working on their body. They start looking good, start feeling good. All that stuff, their energy shifts. These men come running to them. Let the man have his space and allow him to make that decision. Because the last thing you want, ladies, is to drag a man to the altar. That is going to be a recipe for disaster. Yes. You want the man just wanting so badly to marry you and doing anything possible to make it work. Another thing that might help you guys too, this was like so awesome that we did this. One of the best things we did for this engagement and wedding is like kept it so simple. Yes. So simple. Best idea ever. Because I know how men think, right? And they're like thinking about paying for a wedding. Also ask questions about that. It's like, what's stopping you?
And what's important too, right?
What's important for you? Because sometimes men are like, I have to give her this $50,000 wedding. And maybe for you, you're like, actually, I don't even care about that. I would rather let's go have a small ceremony with the people we care about, spend like $1,000 and let's go invest this money. Exactly. Let's go on an amazing traveling vacation together. Let's go invest into a new property or a house for ourselves. But you have to have these types of conversations because this is how men think. Even in their pride too, they won't say anything, but they be like, I don't want to get married. But really, it's not that they don't want to get married to you. It's that they think that they have to provide you with a $50,000 wedding or a $100,000 wedding when really that might not even matter to you. So.
No, having those conversations are key. So yeah, definitely. It's really keeping it simple, knowing what you're looking for, knowing what your standards are. And it's the same with everything. And when he comes in a situation like coming back, if something were to happen after a separation, like, okay, he's processing, coming back, it'll be so clear. Where the direction of the relationship.
Yes.
Right? Because he can come back and still just want to mess around.
Yes.
But it'll be super clear.
Yes.
Right? Because we've already set the boundaries on where we want to go.
Yes.
And most men, any relationship that they're in, the first 6 months to a year, they kind of know if this is something that they want to move forward in marriage.
Oh,
with.
for sure. Do you think it's even 6 months to a year? Do you think it's sooner?
It's sooner, but it could be sooner. But they can be ready to take that step within 6 months to a year.
Yeah. So how long do you think people should date for before they get married?
Well, I think
That's a good question.
I think the first 6 months you should establish that this is what we're doing, and you should be engaged within the first 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Is my thought.
I totally agree.
And then the wedding should be less than 6 months after the engagement. 6 months to a year. Like, I don't think you should wait a year and a half, 2 years to get married because you're looking for a venue. No, within 6 months I'll say within 6 months of getting engaged is a good time to just go ahead and get married and, have whatever wedding that you desire. But like most men that have made up their mind, it's not worth dragging out for them.
Yeah.
Let's just get it done.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's the other thing I love about us right at the beginning when he finally came to Canada. That was the first conversation we had. It's like, okay, we're dating for marriage. And I remember asking like, okay, what's your timeline? Because I mean, I'm almost 40. I got 4 kids. I'm not going to be dating some guy for 5 years.
No.
Or even 2 years or even 1 year, And he's like, I see us getting married within 6 months to a year. I was like, okay, we can do that. And we were engaged within 8 months, getting married before the 12-month mark, for sure. Yeah, having those conversations when he does come back, if he's saying, I want to marry you, like, okay, babe, awesome. What does that look like? Like, what's the time frame you're thinking? And so you're just super clear. And so you guys can just be on the same page. And it's like, well, how can we make this work? Versus, like, if you guys both want to make it work, like, how can we make this work? Versus thinking that you have to do it the way society tells you have to do it. And you're putting so much pressure on yourselves and on each other when it's not even what you want. You just want to be married. Right?
So true. That's good. That's good.
That all your desires start coming towards you in a healthy way. And that's what I want to help you do. So we have a 30-day challenge. We'll leave the link below. You can come and you're going to learn from me. You get to learn from Brian, who we're actually living this out. We're a blended family and we're living our best life right now. We want to help you do that.
Even as you're getting your body and everything together, for most women, the ultimate goal is to get in a healthy relationship.
Yes, that's what we care about.
Yes. So really just helping from that angle and being able to bring that masculine energy to understand how we think.
Yes. And the biggest thing that we want you guys to know, whoever's watching this, does not matter if you've been single your whole life, you've been divorced 5 times, you've gone through a loss like me, you're a single mom, whatever it is, or maybe you're 20 and we want to help you prevent some of the stuff that we've had to go through. But you're never too far gone and things can change instantly, but you have to make that decision right now. You have to start embodying that right now. You're not waiting for him. It's you, babe. Okay? So that's what I want you to leave with. And yeah, we love you.